Hello everyone, my name's Nick from Central Coast Council. I'm one of our environmental education officers, and today I'm here to talk about snakes, as you can see. This is a beautiful diamond python which we're lucky enough to have on the Central Coast. So just on the Central Coast area we have about 20 different species of snakes, going from harmless species like the bandy and the diamond python to the notorious eastern brown snake and even sea snakes in the ocean. One of the reasons we're so lucky to have so many different types of snakes on the Central Coast is the variety of habitats that we have, from rainforests, heathlands, woodlands and our beautiful sandstone country. So just focusing on our diamond python here for a little while, they're one of the most beautiful snakes that we have in Australia and especially here on the Central Coast. They get the name diamond python from the beautiful markings on their scales, and they can vary quite a lot. Some can be quite dark. Some can have quite a creamy belly. We also get some on the Central Coast that are quite yellow underneath as well. So as I said before, they're non-venomous. They catch their prey with their teeth. Some people think that snakes only have a couple of teeth or a couple of fangs, but diamond pythons like Bernie here actually have about 100 teeth. They're all needle sharp and they curve and they face back. And they're designed to grab onto their prey and then allow the snake to wrap around it and constrict it. So they also have amazing heat sensing pits. If you can have a look in the jaw of Bernie's head there, you'll see they have square pits there which enable them to get a thermal image of the environment, so they can pick up warm-blooded prey like rats and possums, especially at night time, which is when they're more likely to hunt. And they'll normally often climb up into a tree, hang upside down if they're looking for ground-dwelling animals like rats, have their neck S back into an S shape, and just hang there and wait for a rat to come past underneath, and they'll strike, grab it, wrap themselves around it and constrict it and then swallow it whole. So in our local environment, snakes play a really important role. They feed on rats, mice, and bigger snakes like diamond pythons will even feed on possums and possibly even flying foxes if they were able to catch them, and birds. The ground-dwelling snakes will feed on frogs and even skinks and other small lizards and even other snakes. They also are food for other animals. Of course, you've probably all seen or heard about kookaburras eating snakes. Even some of our bigger types of frogs and other lizards will eat snakes as well, especially young ones. Generally, by the time a snake gets to the size of Bernie here or bigger, they don't have too many predators and mostly come into trouble when they come into urban areas and come across people. So all across Australia, snakes are under threat from urbanisation. So they're losing habitat all across Australia, and so we're moving into areas where snakes have lived for millions of years and where people are encountering them more and more. If you have snakes around your property or you see them, depending on the species, you might consider yourself very lucky. If you have diamond pythons, I'm sure you'll have less rats or mice than neighbouring properties because they will keep the numbers down, and obviously they're a harmless species to people. If you'd like to minimise the attraction to snakes of your backyard, it's a great idea to just keep your ground clear of places that might shelter a snake, such as tin or debris or piles of wood. And it's also a good idea if you have chickens or other animals to keep food in areas where it's not going to attract rats, which will then attract some types of snakes. And also if you have chicken coops, make them snake-proof and seal them, and also seal up any of your other outbuildings and your houses as well. It's also probably a good idea to keep your grass short in your backyard and just minimise the attraction for not only the snakes themselves but also the food that they like to eat. If you do come across a snake in your backyard, best thing to do is stay away from it. Snakes won't be aggressive, they won't chase you, they'll only feel threatened if you approach them or if your pet, such as your dog, gets close to it. So the best thing to do is keep a distance, contain your pets, and let the snake do its own thing. Snakes coming into backyards are normally there looking for food or shelter or somewhere warm or even somewhere cool to get out of the sun in summer. So the best thing to do is just to leave them alone. Snakes will normally move along in a few hours and you won't see them again. If you do see a snake that's injured or seems to be acting abnormally, you can call your local wildlife care group such as Wildlife Arc or Wires on the Central Coast, If you have a snake that is healthy, but it may be a venomous species that you prefer not to have in your backyard, there are options to call professional snake catchers to have it removed, and they'll rehome it into the bush. So diamond pythons like Bernie can make really good pets, but it's important to understand in New South Wales it's required to have a companion animal keeper's licence, and you can get those online through the Office of Environment and Heritage. It's also really important that they're very specialised pets, so you need to have a lot of specialised knowledge and equipment and food for them, and so it's a really good idea to join your local reptile society, normally called herpetological societies, and they'll have a lot of knowledgeable people that can help you setting up your enclosure and feeding them and looking after them. And it's very important to understand that you can't go taking wild snakes out of the bush. If you ever have the interest in keeping a snake as a pet, you need to buy them off a licensed breeder. And the same goes if you'd like to move it on or rehouse it or give it to somebody else. They also need to have a license. You can't just go dumping them back into the bush because they may not survive. They may have originally come from a different area, and then that can cause problems with other wildlife. So I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about some of our beautiful snakes on the Central Coast here, and appreciate just how important they are for our local environment, how amazing they are, how skillful they are, and we'll see you next time.